your mind is projecting meaning on it. It's projecting negativity on it. It's not inherently negative.
Facts. See, for example, I'm gonna bring it back to me. If I'm talking to a girl, right, and I'm nervous during the process of talking to her, say I'm trying to get at her and I'm nervous the whole time, I could look at it negatively and say, oh, the fact that you feel this way right now, it means you're a loser. You're a scaredy cat. You suck. The positive way to look at it is, you don't normally do this, so the fact that you're doing this, it means you're actually doing something unfamiliar to you, which is a great thing. It takes a lot of courage to do something you're not used to because you don't know how it's gonna go. So of course you're gonna feel this way. But that feeling is a sign that you're doing exactly what you need to be doing, because by doing that, you will grow. Doing things that you don't know how they're gonna go will teach you that you can handle it when they go bad. That is a good thing. Like, you can flip your perspective on the dime, you know what I'm saying? It's really how you want to look at it. The feeling is the same, the meaning you assign to it. That's what really matters. How to stop negative thinking, the art of controlling your life's narrative. Video by Young and Disciplined, YND, shout out my dog. Regarding stopping negative thinking, I feel like I've cracked the code a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of it has to do with just accepting what is, I feel. I'm gonna wait to expound on that sentence. Hopefully it piqued your interest. I know if I heard somebody say that, it would definitely pique my interest. And then we got YND telling us exactly how to stop the negative thinking and how to control your own narrative of your own life. So we're gonna get straight to the video. I'm gonna add my 2 cents once he added his, you know what I'm saying, 50 cents. Maybe we'll equal up to $1 one day. You know what I'm saying? Only one way to find out. YND, take it away.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, YND, with a D stand for discipline, not distracted. You know what I'm saying? Today, we are going to be talking about how to eliminate negative thinking. Eliminate. You got to annihilate that shit. And the main focus of this is going to be about controlling your own life narrative. Okay, this is very, very important. So before I start telling you how to go about it, I just want to tell you guys, the truth.
I feel like I might have a different perspective than him, but, you know, I'm always willing to hear outside opinions because it could help me strengthen my own mindset or change that joint altogether. So if he's saying something else that I feel like is better than mine, then I might have to adapt what I do.
True story from me about me, and how these things have affected me. Maybe you can relate, and it can kind of set us up so you can really understand the problems you'll go through if you don't do this well, and actually how much better your life will get and how long it kind of took me to. So you can kind of know, like, okay, this is real, this is reasonable, and it'll work out. All right.
Yeah.
So for me, I used to struggle with negative thinking, right? Negative thinking normally about myself, not really about others. A lot of times I've always been a person, I can always see the good in other people, the positive in other people. It would be myself. It's not that I thought I was a bad.
I'm gonna piggyback right there. What point he just said, it was, I am able to see the good in other people. I feel like I can do that as well, but oftentimes I feel like I've brainwashed myself into not doing that in a way, right? If you're able to see the bad in all the other people, you're able to make yourself feel like you're better than them. And I feel like I've low-key manipulated my mind into doing that. It was a subconscious effort. I wasn't consciously aware of what was going on, but I feel like that has happened to me. So every time I see somebody, I'm always trying to, like, see how I'm better than them. So as to make myself feel better, which is something you would only do if you don't feel adequate enough. So not exactly happy that I have them thoughts. But at the same time, how to stop them negative thinking or how to control your life's narrative. Just because you have them thoughts, it don't mean you got to abide by them. You know what I'm saying? And we going to wait until the video gets a little further down for me to really explain that, John. I put another little, hook. Hopefully it hooked you, you know what I'm saying? But let's get straight back to the video.
And other people, the positive in other people. It would be myself. It's not that I thought I was a bad person. It wasn't nothing like that. I always knew who I was and like the stuff that I really should be able to do. It was more so like when I would do it or when I would go after my, my dreams or a challenge or a girl or whatever. Even me, and I'm a dating coach, I would have negative thoughts even if I succeeded. That's how bad mine was. It was to the point where, my Mama YND, and people in my life that know me would be like, yo, why are you so hard on yourself, man? Like, you actually did good in right here. You was performing, you killed that shit. You took that test, nigga, you got a 96. What you mean you should have got a 100? Like, I was this type of person, you know, and that's not to say that I see, because I don't want you to be like, oh, he one of them niggas that was striving and doing really well, you know, and then still bitching about, nah, nigga, that's not me. No, of course I would do this too. Of course, with things where I was really doing bad, if I, you know, if you get a C on a test, or if I'm not exceeding in the weight room, or when I was, you know, doing stuff for athleticism and whatever it is that I'm venturing in, I just noticed that I would always think very, very negative about myself and anything related to myself. So even when I would get compliments from people, I never really, I'm not gonna say I believed that they was lying. I would never think of it like that.
Yeah.
It would just be more so like, to what extent do they really mean that? And how should I take it? Because I'm a deep thinker. So like a girl, you know, compliment me or say something, I would listen. I done fucked so many girls and they saying how good the sex was. I'm the type of nigga, like, my thought wouldn't be like my sex was bad, but my thought would be like, was it really
Was
good?
it really as good as what they were saying? Tight joint. Yeah. Are they trying to make me feel better in a way because they really think that joint weak? Or is they just trying to make me feel better? Is they gonna stop fucking with me? Is they gonna start telling other people? Yeah, I know how the spiral be, bro. I know how that joint be.
Because I can't experience it. Like, you are you and I'm me. You know, I can't experience it from your viewpoint. So how good was it really? Did she really mean
facts.
that? You know, and they're like, am I that good? Like, I don't know. It didn't feel like I did nothing special. I would kind of look at, that's a good way to look at it. A lot of stuff I would do, I would be like, is it really that special? Even y'all, you know, YND, man, you the GOAT, bro. You killed it, man. You did that. And I'm kind of be like, am I though? Like, you want to smile and be like, yeah, and I'll do that. But really, the real me would be like, but is that true though? Like, is it? I ain't really that. Nah, maybe I'm whack. And then especially if I run into a situation.
I mean, shoot, bro. I will say this though, right? He said the real him. The real you is who you choose to be, right? Because what makes you you, I believe it's the way you know what I'm saying, act. Because you could say it's the way you think, but the way you think directly influences the way you act, how you show up in the real world. That is the real you, right? The thing that doesn't feel forced, whatever you do and it feels natural to you, I feel like that is the real you, right? Obviously what you aspire for too, even if it feels uncomfortable in that moment, eventually if you do it enough, it will feel comfortable. So not to say things that are uncomfortable aren't of you, but I would just say however you see yourself, whatever your morals is, what you see yourself being, what you value, that is the real you, right? Whatever you value in yourself, even if it's not of you right now, because you got to do a little self-development to get there. If it is on your heart and you think that is something you want to be, that is the real you, right? But literally, he is saying a lot of the time he has doubts in his mind, which I feel like everybody does have. And I wouldn't even say, right, that those things are even us. Well, they are us. Those thoughts are us. But a lot of the time it's our brain bringing, you know what I'm saying, negativity into our minds, because at the end of the day, if you worry about something long enough, it makes it feel like you've prepared for it. It makes you feel safer, thinking this thing won't sneak up on me because I thought about it so much. So all those things that are bad that you're trying to avoid, your brain kind of tricks you into thinking, oh, I thought about it so much, it can't possibly blindside me. Now you're probably asking, why would you be worried about something blindsiding you? It's because our brains are designed to potentially point out dangers that might, you know what I'm saying, end us. Because we still got that wiring from back in the day where literally it was life or death. We ain't have none of this stuff. We ain't have the internet. We ain't have phones. We ain't have shelter. We ain't have ease of access to food. We ain't have electricity. We ain't have nothing, bro. At one point, Bose was out there just in caves, you know what I'm saying, trying, catch a dinosaur for some lunch, start a fire in the cave, sleep. You know what I'm saying? Maybe get you some, like a companion that you could crack on the side. It was really directly about life or death back then. So our brains are still in that mode of thinking where we're constantly trying to perceive threats, things that might hurt us, and trying our best to come up with things to avoid that stress, right? If there are things that you perceive as danger, your brain's going to send triggers to you like anxiety. You know what I'm saying? It's going to make you feel tense. It's going to make you feel stressed out. So as to say, this thing feels bad, therefore you should not do it, right? And by you not doing it, that signals to your brain that, oh, you know what I'm saying? We no longer doing this thing. Crisis averted. Mission complete. On to the next one, right? And I feel like that is where the negative spiral comes from. I feel like whatever we perceive to be a danger, which is influenced by the way that you live your life, even though you don't know it, everything that you constantly avoid or you know what I'm saying, put off that you know you need to do or you feel like you should be doing, just you avoiding them things, your mind starts to trigger that or register that as dangerous things, right? Because you're not used to them. And because you put them off for so long, you start to really question, yo, why am I putting this joint off for so long? Do this joint scare me? Oh yeah, it got to, because I put it off for so long. So somewhere along the line, you get your brain mixed up with the real you, which is to say your thoughts aren't you for real. You know what I'm saying? They're happening inside of you, but they're not really you. It's all just information at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the time, I feel like that's what it is, right? So them negative thoughts, they're valid, right? You can choose to listen to them if there's an actual danger that you need to be aware of or need to avoid. Yeah, of course, obviously listen to that thought, right? But if you know you're in a situation where you're not actively in danger and that it won't hurt you to take an action, even though that it might make you nervous just because you haven't done it yet, you can say, all right, brain, we not in danger. I'll take the reins from here. Now, it might not look pretty. It might not look smooth in your mind. Like, oh, I didn't do that thing well enough, right? I might not be doing good enough right now. But the more you do these things, you will get better, right? I feel like that's all it is. Them doubts, it's literally just your brain trying to keep you safe and stop you from doing things that are outside your comfort zone. At the end of the day, what we seek as human beings is comfort. So I feel like anything that you don't usually do, you're going to be super critical of yourself. And it's low key your brain trying to gaslight you into not doing that shit again, right? Boom. So you asking out a girl, for example, you do that joint, it goes subpar, it didn't really go too well. Maybe you get her number, maybe you don't. That's besides the point, right? Either way, you replay it back in your mind. Oh, did I do that good? I probably did shitty. I'm not going to do this ever again. And low key, you take that thought for your own, but the whole time it's literally just your brain presenting you negative information informed by the brain's desire or the brain's function to keep you safe. Literally, our hardware, our software, our brains is literally working the way it's supposed to keep us safe. Whole time, we don't notice oftentimes that it's actively hindering us. We just think it's us. That's where the distinction never gets made, right? Because you hear a thought in your mind, you start thinking about that joint. Before you knew it, you already think that's the thought that you was thinking of, because everything that came after that, you was like, oh yeah, but it feels like I actively made an effort to think about all these things too. And the way my life is set up, yeah, it's accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you mean the thoughts you think, if it lines up with your lifestyle, you're going to think it's you, which, you know, technically it is, but you don't have to listen to your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So the way to stop negative thinking, in my opinion, is to not stop it at all. Let it rot. As crazy as it sounds, let the negative thoughts pop up into your head, but always realize that you have the choice whether or not you want to abide by those things. And literally, if you realize that they're really not you, there's no need to get mad at them. Therefore, there's no reason to try and stop them. The true way to stop negative thinking, I don't feel like it'll ever stop you. You know what I'm saying? Negative thinking, it's never going to stop. But, you know, its hold on you can get a lot less. You feel me? It can definitely get a lot less. And the only way to do that is to go against what you are comfortable with. If you want to do something and you know you should to improve, whether it's an aspect of your life or just improve you as a person, if you know you need to do it, keep doing that thing. Stop listening to them thoughts. Eventually, the thoughts will stay there. But once you design your life to the point where you're like, oh, I go against these thoughts all the time. This thought, no, that ain't true. I done did this so many times before. We gonna keep doing it. I feel like that's the true way to stop the negative thinking, or stop its hold on you at the very least. Long-winded rant. Let me know if it makes sense. I may come back to it as the vid goes on, because we only 3 minutes into the 27-minute vid. But yeah, bro, let's get back to it.
That kind of reflects that thought, the negative one, I'll be like, see, that's probably the real me. See, this person is finally telling the truth.
Yeah.
I would think that when somebody would.
It's important what he said right there. Once he hears a positive thought, he hears a negative thought. You know what I'm saying? Because he's so used to him thinking so negatively. When he hears a negative thought criticizing himself, he attaches onto it and says, oh yeah, that's the real me. Trying to look for who you really are in the midst of all this chaos. It's very confusing.
But is that true though? Like, is it? I ain't really that. Nah, maybe I'm whack. And then especially if I run into a situation that kind of reflects that thought, the negative one, I'll be like, see, that's probably the real me. See, this person is finally telling the truth. I would think that when somebody would say something bad, or I would get a bad experience from something, or a bad reaction, or something would happen in life, I would be like, that's probably the real me.
Facts.
It wasn't until
and you guys can kind of see how that falls into place, right? When you see the negative as being the truth, you're less likely to do the thing again. If you think you're bad at it, you're not probably going to keep doing it. It's low key your brain brainwashing you, trying to gaslight you into staying where you is. At least that's the way I see it.
A year ago, where I was so down and out in my thinking, right? And I'm looking at my external life, making money, successful with women. I was in corporate, so I was really successful at my job. I was the number one guy there. There's nothing in my life externally when people is looking at it that people would say, that he's down bad, right? In fact, you talking about earning potential, like in my age bracket, from my age and all that, top 1%. But yet here I am still like beating myself up about certain things that I wish I was, or not wish I was, but like know I will be and should be. You know what I'm saying? That I'm not yet, and I'm beating myself up super, super bad. And what would happen is I would almost self-sabotage certain situations, relationships, certain things, because I would kind of think like, damn, like it's just gonna go bad anyway because of who I am or how I do things. Even if it wasn't true. You get what I'm saying? Even if it was actually transpiring positively. That's the real thing. I would still be negative towards myself. And I got into a stumper or a stupor that was so low, so bad, that contrast, it just made me say, you know what? I would hear the thoughts. They became so negative about myself and how I felt about life. I said, no, this, I don't even want to live like this. Like, I wasn't thinking I was going to off myself. I was just thinking like, that would be the only alternative, right? And at that point, to escape. And I ain't saying that in a good way. I'm just saying, like, my thought was like, damn, like, okay, I don't want to do this shit. Like, I can't think like this, And so I really made a choice to, at first, basically almost lie to myself, because that's how it felt. But now I can tell you, after a year consistently of doing this, that my thoughts have changed entirely. Okay. Actually, when I brush up against negative experiences or people projecting negativity onto me or around me, my mind is now so built up that all I hear is positive stuff about me. It will not it won't go any other way. Okay. But I had to take control of my own life narrative and how I viewed myself and what life was for me. This is what I want to do for you. I'm going to just challenge you to this. This is how you know if you're a negative thinker. Fill in the blank. And I did this on my Patreon, but I'm going to do it with y'all. Okay. I'm about to ask you some questions. And the first thought that pop in your mind is what you say out loud or what you hold as your answer. Right? Okay. Just fill in the blank. Life is...
pointless. That was the first thing that came to my mind. I ain't gonna lie. Don't look at me no type of way. We doing the exercise real quick. We doing the exercise, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, that's not what I think, because why would I be making this video right now, right? But yeah, it's the first thing that came to my mind, The second thing was, life is what you make it. It was a more positive thought. That.
If you thought bad, hard, garbage, trash, whatever, then you are a negative thinker, because life is amazing. There are scary things in life, what we might perceive as bad things, but there's so much good, and even if you can learn to see the good in that, it would change your life, right? Even the bad things that are bad relative to you or human, in general. And so let's do another one, right? Getting money is
necessary, but not what I want to do. Not what my main focus is. A necessary evil.
If you thought hard to do, if you thought difficult, not happening, wish it was money, wish it was easier, then guess what? That's negative thinking. Yeah. Right, now you might say, no, this is the trick of the mind too. You might say, no, it's true though. I don't have a lot of money and it's hard to get it. Right? But see, I want you to just be honest, and not be honest. I'll say this. I want you to question this. What if that belief in itself is probing all your actions and micro expressions?
It is.
And day-to-day habits and decisions to make sure that the outcome that you keep getting is that it's hard to get money, or that life is bad, or that life is hard. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And I can go on and on. You can do this with yourself. My love life is my love. You know what I'm saying? You can keep doing it, and you'll kind of see, like, if you're pessimistic or negative, you know? And what I want you to know is when I did this with myself, when I actually seen another creator do this, I cannot remember his name, but I seen somebody do that little part. So shout out to him. But what I realized was, I was like, damn, I'm a very, very negative thinker. I'm a very negative thinker.
Yep.
And I looked at my life. I said, when I'm really looking at it, there's people that's always worse off than you. There's always people that can have way worse, especially for a lot of y'all watching. You know, I ain't got to sit and talk about third world countries and all that. We ain't got to go to the extreme. But you know it. But yet your mind is more interested in the negative stuff. And so what you got to do is actually start controlling your life narrative. Become is thinking about thinking, right? So is zooming out, is being more meta, right? In your own mind. You think about your thoughts. So notice that when you're out and you interact with women, or you're dating, you're working out, you're looking at yourself in the mirror, just notice the small little thoughts that you have that you know are negative. They're bad. They're harmful. They don't help you at all. And notice how your mind might even be resistant to me right now because it wants to call those things the truth, though. It wants to say, nah, but that's what it is. But is it, though? But is it? And this is what I mean by that. See, and this is just an example. Like, you actually have control to look at life as positive as you want to. Because if you really get down to it, there is no such thing like truly as an inherent positive or negative. See, things are only positive or negative
based
relative to you. So case in point, and I like using extreme examples because it gets people to really wake up to this. If you look at like Hitler during World War II, see, most of us are on the opposite side of Hitler.
Negative.
Right? Especially from propaganda and how the world has, painted the narrative of it. The narrative, controlling the narrative. The narrative is that it's bad, he killed people. Now, most people can look at that because humans, the hidden premise is that's granted is that humans don't want to be killed, right? It's painful and it's bad. That's the judgment. Yep. It's a hidden premise, meaning that most people don't need to say that. It's just kind of intuitively implied, right? The collective of us, we believe, is bad. But when you really look at it, though, the deaths relative to the people who passed or humans, it's bad to the human or it's bad to that person. You get what I'm saying? But to Hitler, it's not bad. For example, there are organisms that feed off of you that will infect you with diseases and stuff. Like, they are the diseases themselves, the organisms. They are alive. Relative to them, they don't look at what they're doing as bad because you're sick and you're passing away. Your family is sad. Everybody's sad. They don't view it that way, though. To the organism, it's doing something positive, right? It's keeping its lifeline going. So notice that negative and positive already are subjective. Okay, these things are relative to the individual. See, the person that's robbing you, to them is positive. They just took your money and got away with it. The person that's getting robbed is negative, right? And so what I'm saying is that the person, because it's relative, that means the individual mind that the situation is current to and is relative to has the power to project onto the situation positivity or negativity. And so that's what I'm tying all of this to. What I want you to understand is that a lot of things that you experience are not inherently negative. So when your mind is resisting certain positive thoughts that I'm going to start, and in the next part, I'm going to tell you what you should say to yourself and how you should view yourself. When your mind is resisting that or going against that and saying, nah, that's just the truth, man. That's just the truth. It's hard to do this because you actually secretly, your nervous system and your subconscious mind has attached an identity to these things. Yeah. And because it has an identity.
Because if you enable certain behavior for long enough and then them thoughts pop up into your head, you really have no way to combat it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how the brain really just that joint keep you there. It's like a toxic relationship. You feel me? It's keeping you stuck with it. But you still do have the choice to do some different stuff. It might not feel good. It might not feel regular. But you still can do some different stuff.
It wants to keep it going.
But the main reason it seems so true is because when you look at the way you live, you like, yeah, my brain's right. I'm right. My mind is right.
A lot. And the trick that it's kind of subtly deceiving you. And it's also pairing what is, meaning what just occurred, with the quality of it. Meaning that just because something occurred, it doesn't inherently have a negative or positive quality attached to it. Right? But the secret is that you think your subjective truth, an opinion of it,
is the truth.
Right? is the objective inherent truth. That's the trick of the mind. And so basically your mind is going to tell you that whatever you go through in life is going to look at it and say, nah, that was negative because it feels bad to me. But the thing is, who is to say that you feeling bad about whatever happened or whatever transpired right now is inherently negative? Who's to say that? Mm-hmm. You. So what I'm trying to get you to do is take back your power mentally so that you are now outsourcing your authority and your power and projecting negativity unconsciously, meaning you're just doing it automatically without realizing it. I want you to really, for the next week, pay attention to the type of thoughts that you have and notice that when situations happening, your mind is projecting meaning on it. It's projecting negativity on it. It's not inherently negative. Even when you think to you feel bad. I'm sad right now, right? Sadness does not have to inherently be a negative thing. See, because when you look at stuff, especially because
when you look at emotions like sadness, anxiety, nervousness, say for example, I'm gonna bring it back to me. Y'all know I always do. If I'm talking to a girl, right, and I'm nervous during the process of talking to her, say I'm trying to get at her and I'm nervous the whole time, I could look at it negatively and say, oh, the fact that you feel this way right now, it means you're a loser. You're a scaredy cat. You suck. The positive way to look at it is you don't normally do this. So the fact that you're doing this, it means you're actually doing something unfamiliar to you, which is a great thing. It takes a lot of courage to do something you're not used to because you don't know how it's going to go. So of course you're going to feel this way. But that feeling is a sign that you're doing exactly what you need to be doing, because by doing that, you will grow. Once you figure out that doing things that you don't know how they're going to go will teach you how they will go, or that you can handle it when they go bad, that is a good thing. That is a good thing. And literally just the fact that you're nervous or anxious, all it really means is that you care. You care about how you're showing up. You feel me? It's so like you can flip your perspective on the dime. You know what I'm saying? It's really how you want to look at it. The feeling is the same, the meaning you assign to it. That's what really matters. You got to question every single thought. If it don't line up with who you is or how you want to be, you got to question it. Even if it's positive, you got to question it. You really can't have no bias. You know what I'm saying? If it's accurately reflecting who you think you are, cool. If it's not, you got to think about it. But at the same time, don't start blindly following your thoughts and leading yourself to be delusional, right? Because thinking that you're a certain way, but you're not taking no action that actually reflects that, that is delusion. So you don't want to blindly follow them positive thoughts like, oh no, you're doing great, when you're not doing great. Sometimes you really got to say, oh yeah, I'm not doing good. I feel like this is how I am supposed to be among myself. Let me make sure I'm actually living by that code. You know what I'm saying? So it's all perspective, bro.
They say hindsight is 20.
Literally all you have to do is like, you have this thought that you're long holding in your mind. You just got to put another thought up against it and just think about it. Just think about these. And eventually you will see that, yo, this is really just a thought. This ain't the truth. It doesn't have to be the truth. I have the choice, the free will to choose whatever I want. Indeed.
20. You know, let's say you played sports, right? Or like in sports. In sports, there's a lot of sad moments. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of pain and struggle, right? That literally sets up the very victory that you would also call positive if you won a championship or something. You get what I'm saying? And so what I'm saying is, when you look at it linearly like this, all of the things that you went through were necessary for you to be who you are right now. All the things are necessary to go to the next level that you're trying to get to.
Yep.
And so it would be better for you to think that way and control the narrative and make it more positive in your mind and stay on top of things. And so what I'm saying is this: this is why on the Patreon I got specific affirmations on there too, and things I've taught, especially in the sex appeal course on being more attractive and believing in yourself, that are very, very helpful. If you say them in the morning, say them at night, throughout the day, I'm telling you that the body is hearing it. It's going to start repeating it back to you because you are the one that is steering the ship, and it's just following your lead.
Yeah.
All right. And so when you keep thinking negative thoughts, that's because you put those negative thoughts into yourself.
It's kind of like the weather, bro. You know what I'm saying? Your thoughts, your emotions is kind of like weather. Say, for example, you got your hands on the wheel, you steering that hoe, right? The wind, boom, that joint shift your body this way. It actively influences the direction in which the ship is going, right? But at the end of the day, you still have the power to turn that joint back straight and keep driving straight. It makes it a little harder, but you still always do have the choice. Don't get it misconstrued. Just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean you can't go and do the opposite thing. You always have the choice.
Or maybe the environment you were in, your parents, people around you, have put that on you and you internalized it, right? Either way, once you become aware of it, unfortunately, the way life works is that even if you become aware that it didn't come from you and your mama put it on you, your daddy, or your
It's
friends,
still
or
of you.
people at school, or bullies, or whatever, it's still your job to fix it and get it out of you. You get what I'm saying? That's just how it works, right? That's because identity is fluid. So like, even though it came from somebody else, once you internalize it and you view it as that, oh, this is who I am, to your body and your mind, that is who you are until you change it through your thoughts, consistency in your thoughts. What we're talking about today is really the affirmations, the thinking side of things, and flipping things to help you, right? So like, for example, let's say you approached a girl and you got rejected. See, if you get rejected, your first thought might be, oh, of course I got rejected. I'm unattractive, or girls don't like me anyway, right? Well, actually, you have to take the power back. And what would be better for you to think is something like, okay, I got rejected. Well, shoot, I'm happy that I actually approached her. I didn't do that yesterday. She's not the right one for me. She couldn't see a good thing in front of her.
Yeah.
Now, your mind is going to say, but I'm not a good thing. I'm fat. I'm this. I'm that. It's going to start saying all this stuff. And it's actually good for us to laugh about it because I don't want it to turn into sadness. See, laughter is, to the human mind, is going to be more positive than you getting sad about it, right? But notice how one of them is more positive and beneficial, even though you didn't get the outcome you wanted, and it keeps you up, right? And actually keeps you, it makes it easier to approach again. Right, there's nothing stopping you from then. First, and actually keeps you, it makes you didn't get the outcome you wanted. Notice how to the human mind.
He said the mind said this, right?
It's actually good for us to laugh about it. She's not the right one for me. She couldn't see a good thing in front of her. Now, your mind is gonna say, but I'm not a good thing. I'm fat. I'm this. I'm that. It's gonna start saying all this
Boom.
stuff.
And your mind saying those things. I'm fat. I'm ugly. I'm this and that. These are all bad things, right? You get the question, well, why do I see those as bad things? And if they really seem like bad things according to you versus what society deems them as bad things, you can either choose to discard them or you can choose to entertain them. If you don't want to be a fat person, you deep down don't value that. If you value health, if you value looking in shape, if you value your face, you know what I'm saying, your jawline showing through a certain way, when you're wearing clothes, your muscles popping out a certain way, you can say, okay, this ain't really what I want it to be. So I'm going to take active steps to change that. The fact that I had these negative thoughts have now turned into a positive because they brought to my attention what was really important to me. And it brought to my attention that I am able to change all these things about me, right? You can turn a negative into a positive just like that, bro. You just got, you gotta do it.
It's actually good for us to laugh about it because I don't want it to turn into sadness. See, laughter is, to the human mind, is gonna be more positive than you getting sad about it, right? But notice how one of them is more positive and beneficial, even though you didn't get the outcome you wanted, and it keeps you up, right? And actually keeps you, it makes it easier to approach again, right? There's nothing stopping you from then. Versus the other stuff makes you become more self-conscious and more negative.
You know, see, and this is the trap where I fell into, right? He said these things that keep you up, right? So somewhere along the line, the goal becomes staying up, which also recommends or insists or implies that you feel good, right? You stay in a positive mind space, you feeling good, right? The trap I got caught in was trying to feel good all of the time. So as soon as I started feeling bad, for example, those bad feelings started popping up, those nervousness, that anxiety, I started gaslighting myself into thinking, oh no, you're doing something wrong. You're doing it the wrong way. Whole time that was really my brain just trying to stop me from improving and taking actions to go altogether. That's where the cycle kept falling for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew that I can still make myself feel good through my thoughts. But at a certain point, that became the goal. But really, the goal is just to remain aware that you are the decider. The main goal is to just act in alignment with who you see yourself being. However you feel doing it, you can't really control that. You don't really control what gets a reaction out of you. At least not consciously. You control it subconsciously, right? So if you act in a different way that is uncomfortable for long enough and eventually it does become comfortable, you know what I'm saying? therefore you've subconsciously made it comfortable, there's the real win right there. The thing is, though, you didn't first feel comfortable. You had to act comfortable. You had to know it, that you were comfortable, and take actions that align with that. And then your body caught up. But your mind, you got to start it with your mind, right? You have to start it with your mind. So in that, you can't feel good all the time. But if you know that this is something you need to be doing, keep doing that joint, keep improving, keep getting comfortable with it until you will eventually feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? Your brain leads the way, or not your brain. Your mind leads the way. Your actions follow, then your body follows, right? I feel like that's how I see it. So the main goal is to not feel good all the time, which is not what he's saying. But I just wanted to make this distinction because this is where I be falling off the bridge a lot of the time. I feel bad for a second. I get down on myself thinking I'm doing something wrong. But you can't control how you feel. That's just not a thing. You can't control your thoughts. You can't control how you feel. You can only control what you do, right? You know what I'm saying? Always remain aware of that fact and strive to be in alignment with your true self, indeed, your ideal self. However you see that person being, act that way. That's where the real fulfillment is. That's where the real peace comes from.
You know what I'm saying? Now, which one is inherently more true? Whichever one you want to be more true. They're both, do you get what I'm saying? Whichever one you want to be more true. But because a lot of times we have an attachment to the negative thoughts, our mind is going to say, no, the negative one is more true.
And that's because our brains is trying to keep us safe. Like I said earlier, right? Because if you think about the negative for long enough, you low key think you convince yourself that, oh, I'm prepared for it now just because I thought about it. Either that or you thought about it so much that you avoid it entirely, which either way is a win-win for your brain.
Like I just broke down. No, it's not. It's in itself. Really, reality and things are just and I'm doing this because it's gnats. All right?
Like people say it all the time. For me, I can get 99 positive comments on my YouTube video. If I get that one negative comment, which one do you think is going to stick out to me more? It's going to be that negative comment, because if I'm like, oh, all these other people are showing love, what is this one person talking about? What are they saying? Everybody else saying this other thing. Why are they saying what they saying? Of course, it makes sense that I'll pay attention to that. You ever notice that even in the face of mad positivity, you can't help but fixate on the negative, and you can't help but wonder why that is? You're not making the active, conscious effort to do it. It low-key just happens. That's why. That is why.
House ain't dirty now. It's just one. He likes this light. All my lights is off, so he keep coming over here. But, really life is just transpiring. Things are occurring, and then your mind is projecting meaning onto it. So you actually have the power to shift it. The sneaky thing, though, is that a lot of times the way you want to project on a situation, if it's negative, if it's bad, or what this meant or what it didn't mean about you, is usually coming from something that you didn't input. So I'm actually trying to teach you how to think for yourself. This is part of that, and having more sovereignty of mind and autonomy, right? This actually makes you more powerful. A lot of times the way you think about situations is coming from society, things that transpired or thoughts other people have taught you to hold on to. So actually, I'm trying to get you to think how you want to think. Control your own reality and your world. All right? And so if you got rejected, it would be better for you to think, I approached her, I did good, and then she just couldn't recognize a good thing. And that's okay. You don't even have to think that. You could just think, I approached her and that was a good interaction. You can't let yourself think it means something about how attractive you are or how attractive you aren't. And simultaneously, you can also still try to obtain your goal to be even more attractive, that whatever it is. But you don't have to look at it as this negative thing that counts you out. It's about, so when I said lying earlier, it will feel like lying, but it's actually the real truth. If anything, you should call this the real truth. Now you might say, why? What makes the positive one the real truth compared to the negative one, right? Well, the reason why is because the positive one is who you're not only meant to be, but is still obtainable. So hear what I'm trying to say. So like, if the negative one was just the truth and the only truth, there would be no possibility for you to say or even think or become and experience the positive outcome that you're looking for, the positive thoughts. You get what I'm saying? So like, for example, so if you approach a girl and she rejects you, instead of thinking I'm unattractive, you could think, and I'm using dating because y'all know I'm a dating coach, but you could use this for anything. You could think, okay, maybe this girl just got rejected. I mean, I'm not sorry. Maybe this girl just broke up with her boyfriend and she's not in the mood to date at all.
Yeah.
Maybe this girl is in a relationship and she didn't say that part.
Now you can say, oh, that's just cope. You're just trying to convince yourself of something. Literally, you're doing the same thing the opposite way. Oh, she doesn't like me because I'm ugly. Can you prove that? Unless you ask her, can you really prove it? And even if she say that's the case, what's to say she not capping? You feel me? So looking on the bright side, looking on the wrong side. People often think that just because they think negatively, they're thinking more realistic, which is to say, yeah, I'm better than you because I see it for what it really is. When it's just like, bro, you can't prove what it really is. That's the point, my nigga. That's literally the point. So if it helps you to feel better, to think more positively, not delusionally, but more positively, why wouldn't you do that?
Maybe she's talking to a guy seriously and it's just not the right time. The reason why it's better for you to go with that is one, it protects your own mind and narrative and makes your quality of life better, right? On a simple level. But the other thing is those things can actually be true. See, you don't know if she actually rejected you because you're unattractive. That in itself is you projecting the meaning. You're assuming that. You don't know. Now you might, oh, I do know. I can go ask her. She might say, I'm not her type. Yeah, but I'm here to tell you, and there's guys that can attest to this, that you can have girls who have said, like, for example, I had a girl I was trying to shoot my shot at, and we ended up messing around. But what was funny is at first, she told me, no, I'm not interested. That's all she said. Now, I took that because of my positive thinking, and after doing these affirmations and waking up every day saying positive things to myself in the morning and at night, looking in the mirror, telling myself I love myself, saying positive things about me, and beating that into my mind and controlling the narratives and flipping it. Every time I would see myself think something negative, I would flip it to make it positive for myself. After I got into the habit of that, now my mind feeds me positivity, right? But at that time, I was thinking that then. The girl said that. My thought was, oh, she's just saying she's not interested right now. She might come back, she might not, but it don't really matter. I'm great regardless. That was actually my thought, like my automatic thought. I didn't even have to consciously make myself say that at that point because I was, my mind's so used to it. That girl hits me up a month later. Find out, we start messing around. She tells me, yeah, I said that because I had a dude I was dealing with and he would look at my Instagram account. I wasn't interested at the time because I was trying to be loyal to him in this situation that could have happened. But also, I didn't want him to think, I didn't say too much extra because I didn't want to give you the wrong idea that I was available right then and there. And I didn't want him to think I was trying to do something wrong because I wasn't, right? But once their situation fizzled out, she was back dealing with me. So I'm saying this to say that positive scenario and the positive way that the narrative that you
could be true,
and I'm telling you to cultivate is actually something that can be true. It's 100% in the realm of possibility and reality. And in a lot of cases, it is the other person's thought. I realize that too. A lot of times,
I've been reading The Laws of Human Nature, right? And I'm currently on the chapter of role playing, I believe. The law of narcissism and the law of role playing, they're kind of hand in hand because they both encourage having empathy. You know what I'm saying? And the way to have empathy is to just, feel what the other person is feeling. Being able to do that, being able to sympathize with them, being able to realize that they have all the same thoughts, emotions, problems that they going through just like you. Noticing that they're a human being struggling on this earth just like you. Having that sympathy, having that empathy makes you more able to relate to them, more able to connect with them. Now, the law of role playing, right? That John really emphasizes reading people's body language. I don't know why I got on this point, but that, it makes you read people's body language, right? If you're trying to, well, no, it doesn't make you do that, right? But the point of reading other people's body language is to say, right? One person can say something out of their mouth, but their body will reveal how they really feel. So if a girl is saying, oh yeah, I rock with you, but whole time she got her arms crossed or she not looking at you, she looking at you sideways. The body language, that John telling you a different story, right? So that book, it was really telling me the value in learning to read body language, which is an art that is really lost because as a child, you're more susceptible to things like that because as a child, you frequently mimic what other people do, the adults around you. That's how you learn. That's how you develop, right? So by acting those certain ways that other people act, we're able to feel those same feelings that they're able to feel, right? So Doing that, learning how to really read body language. So even if somebody tells you something and you hold that in your mind as truth, it could be true what they saying, but if the body language don't match up, that's a reason to investigate further. For example, if she looked like she going through the body, but she's saying no with her mouth, my boy, you might still be in that hoe. But at the same time, if she's saying yes through her mouth, but no with the body, that's how you know when to cut that hoe off. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I got on that point, but I just wanted to highlight that.
That can be true. It's 100% in the realm of possibility and reality. And in a lot of cases, it is the other person's thought.
Oh, yeah. Because he mentioned it might be the other person's thought. So that's kind of how you really get into another person's psyche. Really imagine what they're feeling, see how they really feel by matching their body language, observing, you know what I'm saying, how they take up certain body language or how they talk, you know what I'm saying, their vocal patterns, their body language patterns, in positive situations where they're more comfortable and in negative situations where they're more anxious or more nervous. And then you start to peep. These certain type of body language, these certain animations is more typical of people when they're in stressful situations or negative situations, when they don't feel up to par, when they feel negative, when they feel anxious, nervous, stuff like that. So when you see that joint just out in the wild, when you see the same type of animation, you low-key register it already in your mind. Oh, that's a negative thing, right? They was probably feeling this way at that time. You can low-key see that in other people. That's the premise of reading body language, because a lot of communication is nonverbal. So we don't tap into that a lot. We really just look at what people say and see that as truth. But there's oftentimes a lot more than meets the eye.
You know, I realize that too. A lot of times,
not the trained eye though. The trained eye, you can see a lot. I want to get better at that, John.
The positive ways that you can spin the narrative is actually what the other person would want you to do. You get what I'm saying? Or is how they're thinking. And this is just me talking about, you know, if it's dealing with another person, like dating or something. We could talk about it from this angle. Instead of saying that, you know, you working out hard or you're doing this or you're attacking your goals, I didn't do enough, right? I didn't do enough. You look at it and you say, I've done a lot. I'm doing more now than I did before, and I'm enjoying this. Mm-hmm. Now, you might say, well, I'm not enjoying it. I don't have the outcome that I'm looking for yet. That is where you have to take real control over your mind. You might have to relax. This is where meditation and all of these things are great. They help a lot because you can subdue your own mind to say, no, I'm actually happy right now, even if I don't have that exact outcome yet. Mm-hmm. Count all the things that you're grateful for. That's another technique you can use. You can start the day with just being more grateful. Being grateful for the sun outside, for the air that you breathe, for the food that you're able to eat, for the house that you have, or the apartment that you're in, for the family you do have, for the friends that you do have, to have an internet and a phone and access or a computer to this video right now.
Yeah.
It can be gratefulness for yourself, for life, for the trees, for the colors, for the video games. You know, things that we kind of gloss over. This stuff will reset you and make you feel
you
more
take
positive.
For granted, yeah.
Because a lot of times, again, it's easy for us to harbor it on the negative stuff. You get what I'm saying? And so really it's going to be about telling yourself positive things, even when it's going the other way. Even if somebody else is trying to push against you. Sometimes you have to say these things out loud to other real people that are trying to enforce or assert their negativity or their worldview onto you. Because remember, all of this stuff is subjective. It's not inherently good or bad, positive or negative. Your mind is projecting that. Why not project the positive thing? Why not? It makes you feel better. It makes life better. The negative one makes life worse. There is nothing to gain from that. And it's not the inherent truth. We just talked about that. You could think something negative and then find out from the person involved that, you know, like I said, the girl example, that wasn't even true. Those things happen all the time with millions of people. What I just said is not, that's actually common. What I just said is not something that's an anomaly. Mm-hmm. You might say, well, reality isn't showing me that I'm XYZ that I'm trying to tell myself. Well,
change your reality, nigga.
You still need to think positive about it. And I get that at some level it's like, okay, but what's the trick? There is no trick. You think positive and you consistently do that, and it helps you. Now, there are other things that you can do if you want to kind of bypass your human biology to produce hormones that make you think more positive. See, that's another thing. Sometimes negative thinking
just gotta
is
act
coming
confident.
from a chemical imbalance. You know, this is why people get on medication and get diagnosed with depression and different things like this. Your diet is heavily influencing it. Your lack of exercise, right, could be influencing it. So there are actually things you can do that will feel like magic almost. I start eating this for a month and you would just notice a slight raise in serotonin levels, a slight raise in, you know, you might have a dopamine reset and your dopamine can be a little bit better and you just think positive. Right? You get what I'm saying? So actually all of these
Indeed.
things are helping you. But the thing that's going to be very powerful, because I realized something, you can eat very healthy and still have mental health problems or think very negative and pessimistic, even if you look good. This is where the people, if you watch those little black pill videos, the guys in the black pill community, some of these dudes are cut up, they look good. Man, these niggas got real issues, man, because when it comes to this part of their mind where they think consciously, the words and the narrative part is formed, they only project negativity, even though everything else externally, the food they're eating and stuff is helping them, but that edge is still necessary. You get the edge from the controlling your narrative. So work on some affirmations. You can look them up on Google, good affirmations to say. Trust it. You stay disciplined with them and consistent like anything else. It might not help overnight. I can tell you, as somebody who did this, I am telling you, I went from a negative ass thinker or always doubting myself, right? In like a second guessing way. Like I would, see, my doubt was a little bit different. See, some people would doubt and that would stop them from doing. It never did that for me. I would still do it, even achieve certain things and be like, was that as good as I thought though? Was it really what I would do that? But I would still keep doing it and just observe my own doubts pretty much, you know? And so I say this to say somebody who went from that to where I'm at now, my internal world and my quality of life, especially in the last year, has substantially changed. Like everything that happens, even when I feel bad, it's just like I always just flip it into something positive. And it actually keeps my life positive. I notice people are more positive because I'm more positive. Yep. I noticed that I never lose, discipline like I was or motivation to do things because my mindset is even when I go through the bad, that's just setting me up for the good. I look at it like a necessity, like a necessary part of my life. And this can be very difficult if you're a nihilist type of person, nihilistic, especially people that become like atheistic and you're nihilistic.
Yeah.
Which actually there's a trick in nihilism too, because if you're a nihilist and you think nothing matters, so some people think that nothing matters and nothing really matters in life, and then you're depressed about that. See, the trick in that is that if nothing matters, why are you projecting negative meaning and connotation onto your nihilism? So if nothing actually matters, why, right, are you allowing your mind to think negative and think, you get what I'm saying? Like that's another trick that happens with people that become nihilistic. They don't even realize that. So they're depressed because nothing has inherent meaning or you can project whatever meaning, but they don't realize that they're still stuck in the trap of they actually do think something matters because you think it matters that nothing matters. You get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is there's no world where sitting in negativity is beneficial to your life. In any sort of way, it's always good to be positive.
That boy spitting, man.
Like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon for more in-depth.
Man, WVid, my boy, WVid. If I had to sum it all up, you just gotta, see those negative thoughts as your mind trying to protect you. You gotta really think about it, right? If they're hurting you, you gotta discard them. If they're helping you, keep them thoughts and keep moving in alignment with them thoughts. They're all valid at the end of the day because it's really just your subconscious trying to protect your conscious, right? You don't, consciously choose to think the way that you do. You acted that way in the past, which now informs the way that you do think, though. Also, the people that you had in your life telling you certain things, which you experienced growing up, yeah, you internalize all them things, and now it's you. But the thing is, you always got the choice. You always do have the choice. You can choose to abide by them thoughts. You can choose to go against them. Once you realize that it's really just your mind trying to keep you safe, all those negative thoughts, they could be valid. If they is valid, all right, cool. But if they not valid and deep down they not valid, it don't make sense. Once you think about the thought long enough, it becomes stupid. Once you thought about that negative thought for long enough and realize that it's stupid and realize that you can still go do what you need to do regardless of that negative thought, you will be fine. You will be fine. Once you stop seeing it as a part of you, that's where it becomes easy to not even entertain it no more. Once you're like, oh no, that's just my mind trying to keep me safe. Once you just make that distinction, once you say that out loud, you can kind of visualize the separation. Once you could be like, all right, that's not me. And once you visualize the separation in your mind, bro, even that helps. That's the trick I use, right? So literally every negative thought I have, I'll question that hoe. I'll really think about how valid it is. And oftentimes in our minds, we often think about the worst case scenario. Once you think about the worst case scenario, once that jump pop into your mind, right? Just say, so what? What's the worst thing that could happen? If this happens, so what? And if the consequences aren't that dire, even though the worst case scenario probably won't happen, we just fixate on that to avoid danger, of course. Once you see that the worst case scenario doesn't really matter, and you have the knowledge that the worst thing that I'm thinking will happen probably won't happen, you're more likely to go take that risk and find out what really will happen. You feel me? So really all it is, you don't stop the negative thinking, you just stop letting it rule you. You just start moving how you always knew you were meant to move. Indeed. Let me know what you guys think of this topic in the comment section down below. Let me know if it helped you at all. If it did, make sure to like the video, comment, and subscribe. I would love to see people's perspective on this. This is what the type of mind frame, the frequency I've been on lately. So it would mean a lot if y'all let me know what y'all think. Like I said, appreciate y'all watching the video once again. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Love y'all. Peace.